What's my favorite part of demo mode? My favorite part would generally just be what other people do, you know, like the skill specs clips that pop up. For what I do, I just play the game. I like the survival aspect of it. Last one I really didn't. It was too much. Like, I would rather play Amnesia again than do the last Deadman mode again, bro. I think my favorite thing of Deadman now that the previous ones didn't have was you couldn't really die. Or PKers would never die, so they'd all ally, but now anyone can kill anybody. I just feel like the breaches have become underwhelming. Honestly, the breaches where they're split are perfect. As they are, that's what the breach should have always been. But they need 10 times as many monsters. Imagine the split breach was enough monsters similar to the breaches where everyone's entity hiding and shit. That is what it should be. You go find an area where you get your own monsters, another group comes, and it's that. It would be absolutely perfect. So I think next time that's what they'll do. They'll sack off the breach where everyone's stacked, and they'll 5x the monsters and make these split breaches. So you're literally killing your own monsters with a smaller amount of people. I think that's what it should be. Because then you don't need entity hider. You can see the PKs that hit you. The PKs can pick people off. It would be way better. But at the moment, the breaches only spawn 4 monsters at a time. So when you're at these breaches that are split, there's not enough of them. So you're just sat there doing nothing for a while, and it's just boring in comparison to the breach. I think they should nerf the Deadman mode mega scales. No, I think they should keep PvMing as happy as possible in Deadman mode. The PKs are going to be happy every Deadman mode, but the more PKs they can kill, the better. What I would like to see next Deadman mode, in all honesty, is more deposit spots. Like 20 deposit spots would be freaking sick. I don't know how broken that would be. But again, with all the sigils going around, it's better for PKs to kill PKs now, and no PKs running Guardian Angel, man. So they'll get them for everything. But PvMers, bro, if we can like drop our gear and just take ranks in places, it's so much easier to play the game. Yeah, 14, maybe not 20. 20's a lot, maybe like 15 or something. But then also what I generally want to see, although this one might be a bit more OP and a bit more annoying, would be that if you're a PvMer, you can put a 4th sigil on, let's say. But as soon as you skull, the 4th sigil that you've got activated doesn't work anymore. So PKs still have 3, but if you're a PvMer, you get 4. The small things like that, I don't know how broken that could be though for someone PKing unskulled to get the 4th sigil. But anything that keeps PvMers happier and enjoying the game more, the better. Because the PKs are going to play every Deadman regardless. Give me freaking 5 sigils, mate. Just don't give the PKs 5. Lose sigils on death! No. PKs would run 4 and refuse to skull unless slamming PvMers. Well, yeah, I mean, if they then skull on a PvMer though, they lose that 4th sigil now. It doesn't work anymore. So the PvMer doesn't have to tank 4 sigils. So you can basically be a PKer, run around with 4, and if someone hits you first, you get 4 sigils and they know. But then PvMers can run 4 sigils while PvMing, because it's just like so much nicer to have like 4 sigils, bro. But that's just another one, mate. But yeah, that's just an idea. But no, it's just always slightly tweaking things in Deadman mode, where basically you're making it better for the PvMers, but without making it shit for the PKers, bro. So when people start talking about Iron Man, Deadman, no, they would let the PKers get fed all the shit, get maxed out, and go kill everyone. But then just a few small things that might make it more enjoyable PvMers makes there be more people playing the game. And the more people playing Deadman mode, the happier the PK. The only thing you need to do then is obviously try and create it where if you can have 4 sigils as a PK or a PvMer, sorry, or even 5 sigils, they can't have certain combinations that are just broken. But then there might just be a solid meta created by them trying to stop certain combos. Yeah, if you die once, you most likely quit. 3 combat sigils and 2 utility. The thing with that though is the price of Guardian Angel will be absolutely disgusting. Would it work if you lose 1 sigil when you die skull? It's just like, what's going to make it more enjoyable for a PvMer to play this game when they're getting smoked by PKs in maximum gear? And I think a few things would be a deposit box, maybe a bit bigger. Everyone can get that though. 14 slots, even 15 slots would just be a bit nicer. And then maybe if you're a PvMer again, you can have an extra sigil that doesn't work if you are skulled. Because if you give PKs 5 sigils, we're going to have a big problem, bro. It's going to be freaking hard to deal with. But if I could come out with an extra sigil unskulled and take like a sigil of... Again, I don't need Guardian. Well, if I had a massive bank, I could have a Guardian Angel on all these. But I could bring a lifesteal one as well. And it just makes it so much nicer to play as well. PvPers would run 4, not skull. Wait for someone to skull on them and use 4. That's fine. That means the PvMers don't get attacked by said PK. The PK is too scared to score because they want 4 sigils, mate. They're not killing anyone in the game. And obviously, if they decide to kill someone defenseless, they now skull up. They lose the 4th sigil. It doesn't make them automatically be killed by a PK. It just means they lose a bit of the damage that they would have. But that literally could be, let's say the 4th sigil I ran was Rampart. And then I skulled. I just lose the Rampart now that I'm skulled until the duration of my skull ends. It would kind of suck if the skull disappeared in the middle of a fight, though. What's about the sigil of Pious Protection? It's very good, but Rampart is better. Rampart, you can borderline just pray magic and not die. Obviously, there is a counter to it, which we can diagnose from myself dying. Pious Protection, if you get a few prayers wrong, you get even more damage because you have to realize every PK is running aggression. So if you take 5% more on that 10% already boosted, bro, you get hit like 84 VLS and shit. One sigil for the main game, what would it be? The only one really that's not... I mean, there's a few that aren't that broken in the main game, but the sigil of versatility to change spellbooks. You technically have a magic cape that's 5. You could change the magic cape to be infinite, and it wouldn't be that broken. And that would be a sigil that wouldn't be too busted. People at Spellbook stop bewildering him. Yeah, it might be busted in the wilderness. I don't really think about it, so. Sigil of the Bloodhound, making all your clue steps be 1 step shorter would be pretty beautiful. Not like the guaranteed or the very high chance to insta-get it, but like imagine you could do a hard clue that's max step 6, but now it's max steps 5. But it could still roll 4 or 5, you know? It would be pretty cozy. More sigils for Unschooled might make anti-PK more viable too, which would be cool. Yeah, I just think if you think about it, right? If you can have more sigils, Unschooled in Deadman mode, and someone hits you, that person that hits you does not have extra sigils because when they school, it removes their other sigils. But if you're a PVMer, you can kind of situation. But it'd be very nice. Like imagine you could play Deadman mode, bro. You're the PVMer, you're the food chain, you're the person getting destroyed by the PKs who are fed. But you get to play the game with 5 sigils all the time, man. You know, that's just more motivating to play. But it doesn't make you unkillable. The PK can still smoke you with 3 sigils. And then again, if you want, you can go to a breach with 5 sigils. And if a PK hits you, you could have anti-PK gear in your inventory and fight back. Now, realistically, the only people attacking people at breaches and shit in Deadman mode are freaking good PKs. So the odds of you still beating them is quite low. Escaping Unschooled is too easy. Yeah, what did I speak to Reese about? I can't remember. It was a way that Unschooled escaping will be a bit harder, but again, I still think that the game should always be catering to the PKers, but the game is too easy for the PKers still. So you want to make it easier for the PVMers. Because if it's easier for the PVMers, then the PKs have to get smarter to kill them or just bot their heads off. And if you bot their heads off because they tank bad, fair enough, bro, you get the kill. But then if you can't kill that many people and you're not flattening half the game in a day, you know, people were killing off fully 100 people a day in the early ones. Imagine that was dropped down to like 25. Because it's just a bit tougher to kill people. Bigger risk than the current skill gives attracting the player. That's kind of just a random idea. I always come up with something new. When I'm on like the tail end of things and I'm playing Deadman mode, I'm there like, what is something that I think might be enjoyable for me, but not insanely broken to compete against the people that are like swapping for max gear and have max stats fed to them and shit. And I just think it's things that need to be like kind of cozy, but not broken. And I think the ability to have like 5 sigils unschooled would make the game so fun because it'd be easier to choose which ones. The only downside to that again then is obviously if everyone's running Pious Protection, Rampart, Guardian Angel, they come pretty close to unkillable maybe. But that keeps the player in the game, feeding the economy. Just depends if there is combinations that cannot be countered really. Entering raids while in combat. I don't know. I don't know if you want to make it too easy in a way, so I'm not sure. Once in PvP combat, everyone's 4th sigil is removed. I mean, no, that's a good idea. Imagine you could play the game with 5 sigils at the same time or something. But if you get attacked by a player, well, no, because you'd always run Guardian Angel then in the first 3. But if you get hit by a player, it removes the last 2 sigils or something. Yeah, it's not bad. Just the encounter carries over. I am 99% sure, because I keep hearing mixed things. You keep the accounts, the stats, the quests, and everything. And you keep the 10 items in the deposit box. Do people actually play 45? I think it's to try and get people to play 45, or 45 is a dead shaver. No, but playing 45. But I honestly think right now, Jagex need to run. This is my idea. You can all just pog as many times as you want. Deadman Mode Reborn 2025. And it's the exact same as what this server currently is. It lasts 2 weeks. But at the end of it, the accounts transfer to a new permanent Deadman server. So if you like playing the video game with sigils and stuff like the leagues, there is a Deadman server that has sigils and shit in now. So you can actually go down. But that means we have a permanent Deadman server that we could just play. But then what could actually happen to make it good or better is that there's a high scores for it. And if you play for points, the points now will cap at a certain point after you cap the monsters. So there is a maximum points you can get, just like 4.6 billion experience. And a lot of people would race for that to be a new high scores. Masshart would win, of course, but yeah, literally, if you wanted to cap points, you'd have to go kill like 75 of every boss in the game, do all the combat achievements, all achievement diaries, all quests, 99 all skills, all that shit. Which sounds miserable, but again, we get to watch the race happen, and that server's permanent. I mean, if they added the thing with the reason why Ninja had to be removed is because every player needed it. It was too OP. If they added Ninja back and you could only use it in PVM encounters, great. I would freaking love that. It'd be great for PVMers. We don't want it. But the Ninja would be so expensive. It would be basically mandatory. But yeah, I think, again, they need to cater Deadman towards PVMers. The PKers will play every Deadman no matter what. So if the game's easier for PVMers without just being shit for PKers, that's good. So if next Deadman, they're like, yep, if you're PVMing, bro, you get 5 sigils, 15 bank deposit spots, all that shit. That's awesome. And the PKers, they don't get anything new, but they can still clobber everyone. And there's more people to kill. That's the only thing I think they want, you know. I don't PK anymore in Deadman, but I think the only thing they care about is people to kill. Yeah, you need to stock the fish up in the barrels, bro. Basically, I'd freaking... There's so many good sigils, man. I want to PVM with them all, but you just can't. Imagine how nice it'd be to take, like... I don't know. 4 sigils if unscored, 3 if scored. Yeah, that's what I was thinking yesterday, is if you can have 4 sigils, but then if you are scored, the last sigil you've got activated, so you can choose the order of your sigils, doesn't work anymore. That would be a nice change. PKs might not be happy with it, but if that change means, hey, we're going to add this to Deadman mode, you're going to have twice as many people to kill now. I don't think they're going to give a shit at that point. But then all the PVMers, it's just so much cozier for us to do PVM. And then we play longer and get picked for everything, man. Thoughts on adding some sigils to the main game as new boss drops? If I'm honest, I'd like to see sigils and all that shit never in the main game. Even though, you know, I would love some of them. If they want to add sigils to the main game, they should add them inside like a raid. But then the meta would be created. But basically, maybe you can select a sigil when you move into the next room of the raid. And by the end of the raid, you have 5 sigils or something. But again, I think the meta would just be choose all the DPS ones. So it don't really work, so kind of just leave it be. Main game is the main game. Deadman and leagues can be different. Mate, you can't add Silverhawks to the game, bro. The automelogy tweet would be too long. Westham take on Deadman mode. Okay, first of all, Westham, you swapped all your gold. You've never played as a PVM, so therefore everything in this is a shit take because he has no idea what it's like to play behind. Now you clip that and you ship it and we start some drama. To make this clear, any form of permanent upgrade, sigils or prayers should never be able to be speed ran through swapping. It's divided how this issue should be tackled, but here's a few options, right? So what I'm guessing here is a PKer or anyone in the game can swap 150 mil old school and buy sigils for any price, and then they've permanently got them, and then they're more powerful than other people. Okay, I kind of, I'm easy on that, I guess. I don't swap, so it's fine. Sigil skill tree could be tied to Deadman points where you spend them to unlock better sigils. These can be refunded at any point to change your sigils up. Permanently unlocked for everyone. Each player simply goes to the sigil menu and selects which one they want. I'll say instantly, that one, I do like it, but I also don't, based on the fact that getting sigil drops that are expensive is one of the best parts about Deadman mode. A lot of you may have generally had like a day of burnout when the sigils crash from the pure essence thing. Because if you literally get a sigil and it's worth 1 mil when it was worth 10 mil the other day, that sucks. But when you're just randomly playing, you get the supply drop, the sigil of friggin' meticulous, and you've just made 15 mil like that, bro. It's freaking beautiful, so. I don't know how I like that one, but maybe you can have like one or something, or some PVM ones maybe or something, and the PK ones, but I don't know. Each bracket you move up unlocks a new sigil tier or slot. You can choose any sigil you like. If that means 5 sigils at the max bracket and 1 sigil at the bottom, I don't mind it, but then PKing would be pretty shit down at the bottom brackets. Not that it's needed, but I think PKing in the lower brackets might be more fun than PKing in the max bracket. So again, I don't know. Skilling sigils should have its own 2 separate slots. They should not be integrated with offensive and defensive sigils. No one on Deadman enjoys being a defenseless fish. Doing a skilling activity already puts you at a disadvantage in terms of inventory layout. Encouraging anti-PKing or the use of defensive sigils to up their chance of survival should be of importance. I like that a lot, yeah. It would be pretty cool if I could open up the sigils and it's like combat sigils 3, skilling 2, utility 1. But then I think if you have 1 utility, it's always going to be Guardian Angel. So Guardian Angel will be so expensive. But I do agree with that, you know. You need combat sigils to be powerful and shit. Aggression. This sigil makes no sense. It should make you take more damage than you deal. That's the cost of it. You want 10% extra damage. You're taking 15% more in return. A flat damage boost that has a higher upside than downside shouldn't be a thing. I agree. That would be disgusting. If both PKers ran aggression, you'd be taking 25% more damage or a different number, so that would be pretty insane. But I agree with that. Rampart. These sigils shouldn't be usable as a PKer. No defense sigil should ever be usable as the hunter. Hunter, yes, correct. There needs to be a difference made here. 100 defense bonuses while also being the aggressor shouldn't be a thing. Player versus player defense sigils need to be given reduced damage in PvP to a point where a PK will find it utterly useless while also remaining unaffected in PVM. Again, Rampart I think, again, the best way to create Deadman is make the PVMers as hard as possible to kill without making them impossible to kill or very hard to kill. If there's sigils in the game, like the Rampart's board, if you had Rampart and Pious and got your prayers right, it's like having like 2 bulwarks or some shit. Be hard to kill. As for being a PKer, if you're running Rampart and it makes you also unkillable, then again, that could be if you're Skulled, the sigil doesn't work. The one thing you can add to the next Deadman is like, if you're Skulled, this sigil doesn't work. Again, that would go against people going to PK, but you're not making PVM as PK and Deadman. It's too hard. The best PKers aren't going to give a shit. They're going to Skull regardless. They're not going to need that stuff, simply put. So if they were changed and there are certain sigils in the game that don't work if you have a PvP Skull, I don't think any PK is going to give a shit because they're just going to have more people to kill because they're harder to kill, you know. Imagine you go to a breach and there's no one there, but if there were sigils that made people harder to kill, there were people there and you could attack them and try and kill them again and again. Imagine the game would be boring if there's no one to kill. But yeah, I think that's one thing they can look at is some sigils work Skulled and some don't. Sorry, some sigils work unskulled and then don't work Skulled or something like that. Every Deadman mode with sigils should have completely revamped sigils. Each new Deadman should feel fresh with little to no similarities to the previous one. As long as Guardian Angel stays and Titanium stays, I'm happy. I don't give a shit. I'll try everything. But I need God. Whoa, this is so long! Okay, Rigor Augury. Currently, a major issue is the fact that a regular player might not even see Rigor and Augury. Correct? Which is a flat-out damage and defensive boost, while someone who swaps in will have it immediately. Correct. Putting people on as an even playing field as possible is probably the most important aspect of Deadman mode. Definitely agreed. Countering swapping by giving people at least the same prayers seems like a needed change. Even if it does devalue chambers slightly, the usual prayer drops could be replaced by just giving a different item on the purple table. Prayers should either be given for free or unlocked for a fair price at the emblem trader. One of my favorite things in Deadman is doing Chambers of Xeric to get drops. If they remove prayer scrolls or prayer scrolls became useless, that would upset me. But if the prayer scroll just rolled Ancestral instead, you know, and you could bring Ancestral in or a different purple. Like if I rolled a prayer scroll and it automatically rolled one of the other 10 purples at that point, that I'm fine with that. If that gives me Dex and Augury off the spot and you don't have that disadvantage, then yeah, I do kind of like that. Now, I'm someone that does a lot of raids. I do a shitload of raids. I make a lot of money from my prayer scrolls. Whoa, mate, the tree ain't going down anytime soon. So yeah, as much as I like doing raids, if the prayer scrolls were worthless, I'd be sad. But if I got something different, that's kind of fine with me. But the prayer scrolls are the money in the raid. Ancestral would be the second money. But then obviously with Virtus in the game, it does actually fall down. He's what? Re-gearing. Elite Void solved this. At the cost of having almost everyone be in the same gear, whilst also having very good offensive bonus for little cost. I do think the issue came from teaming and broken mechanics. Blah, 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 blah. Re-gearing is the largest issue in Deadman by far, and even for the best PKs, just creates the biggest hassle to get out there. I honestly don't know about that one, to be honest. I die, lose everything, and I just try my best to rebuild. But that's me. The main game's done a great job at giving middle tier options that can compete with expensive gear, but still is not as good. Oh, yeah, if you have Mystics compared to Virtus, yeah, that's pretty bad, to be honest. Yeah, that's true. Disposable PvP weapons that maintain a cheap price give a normal player who can't afford a significant upgrade like that a chance to have better range DPS. Yeah, I mean, PvP weapons this time I think was so disgustingly rare, the prices were different, and obviously Mori Javelins are only going to be owned by like the richest players or something like that. So yeah, larger quantity of those, I think I think that's good. The only thing is, no one wants to get friggin' Irixes or Javs, mate. You want VLS and Zoras. Breaches. Current issue is the breaches are far too cluttered. Agreed. As a PK, you can get on someone and have them disappear from the screen because there are just that many people there. That's friggin' fine, mate. That's just all turtling, bro. As the PVMer, you're unlikely to get even get one hit in before the boss is dead. Having the monsters spawn in 2 or 3 locations, splitting the player base on where to go will make the breaches more bearable for every party involved. I think the best way to answer that is when they have the region breaches, they were shit. Biggest pile of garbage in the game. They buffed them, and now the region breaches has loads of monsters spawning in loads of different places, and they're really good. The breach I did at 3 AM, I think it was. No, it would have been the 8 PM breach that was by McGrubber's Wood, where Elliot got on me and stuff. That's freaking how it should be. It's brilliant. You know, there's loads of different locations for monsters. The PKs can run around and try and find people. But I do think that the clump breaches are pretty shit, but that's fine. Drops are too rare. I honestly think they're freaking rare as shit, man. I didn't see it. I didn't see any PvP weapon, and I think I did 100 plus MVPs. Breaches should have a damage goal where if you meet it for 30 minutes to an hour, all of your next drops or damage will be doubled. Hey, okay, right. Westham, mate. He's cooking a bit there, mate. I'll take my double damage. It's pretty good. It's pretty good. Shouldn't have to use entity. Yeah, so the entity hider thing is garbage, but you have to do it. But the regional breaches All they have to do is keep those as they now are, and maybe even increase the monsters by 21%. Have it so that as soon as something dies, you're not waiting like over 5 seconds or 10 seconds for the next one. If the regional breach can just read like 10 different locations in the region and then make that like the clump breach, that would be really good, I think, because then there's always something to kill and it'd be fun. There's no point in having a VLS get the treatment of an Elijah if the game of the goal mode is to give casual players a chance of having fun. The goal of the game mode is to give the chance of casual players of having fun. PKers, or people that play Deadman to kill everyone, no matter what ever happens to the game mode, unless it becomes Iron Man for some dumb reason, they are not going to not play. They are going to play, regardless of what happens. However easy it is for a PVMer to play this game, the PKs are going to play, they're going to swap, they're going to get ahead, they're going to kill everyone. That's never going to change. So changing it for casual players to have fun is definitely the goal. Bank keys. Remove them entirely or remove supplies from the key, such as brews and potions. I am down for bank keys to be removed. I also, I don't know, maybe if I died and didn't lose the bank key, that's fine. The Guardian Angel becomes useless, but I think one of the exciting parts of the best way to do a bank key, though, would maybe be you only lose a bank key if you're skulled. Again, so if a PKer sees another PKer killing a PVMer, it's more worth their time to kill the PKer rather than killing all the PVMers instead. But then if the PVMer is wearing a load of gear, you can kill him and get that gear. That's the only way bank keys would personally work, because there is some hype in bank keys. But then if you kill the PKer and got the bank key, no, there's no doubt that's the most hype bank key you're ever going to open at some point. Other than that, yeah, muling. Muling, as a rule in this game mode, only is viable to streamers. I can't mule on this game mode. Neither can streamers, because we'll instantly get caught doing it, and it's against the rules on paper, so we get banned. Anyone who's not a streamer, you can freaking just stand where I am now and trade your alt right. Speak of the devil, mate. Just trade this guy, quickly give all your shit, mate, and then go from there, bro. The best way for me to mule is give it all to friggin', like, I don't know, friggin', I'll give it all to Ethan, mate. He wouldn't die anytime soon. A CSGO loot box opening feeling, except your chance at an AWP Asimov doesn't even exist. What the friggin' shit is that? Transfer all items to 45, even if people argue it ruined the economy. On there, it generally doesn't matter. If 45 turns into a cheap economy server where max sets aren't worth much, that would be preferable to its current system of waiting 5 business days and 20 Discord friend requests to receive an item. It would populate the server if max sets were cheap so you could practice for events. I kind of agree with that a bit. I honestly just think that now they should open a new permanent Deadman server with all the sigils and shit. Imagine how good it'd be if you could log into Deadman mode with sigils at any Christmas day, mate. You've opened your presents, you log in on Deadman mode, and you've got your sigil of the ninja, mate. No, I agree with a lot. The prayer scrolls one, I like getting prayer scrolls, but again, to keep people playing, Chambers of Xeric is a place everyone just dies, realistically, so... Hey, there's some good takes there, mate, from the friggin' ham. A 45 reset would go harder than any season. No. World 45 should never be reset. People genuinely play it. We don't. I don't play it, so if they reset it right now, hell yeah. Now I will play it. But there are people who play it. The only people that should choose a 45 reset are the people that are playing it. Other than that, if they release, like I said, Deadman Reborn, and it is a server with sigils and points, the reason why it would... I'll make a video on it of me blabbing about it, but the reason why it would be so good is because if I open up this Deadman point system right now, because there's a high scores, no one in the game in 2 weeks can complete everything for every single point. When they create a new Deadman server, if they made a new permanent Deadman server, you could then have the time to do everything. Cap the points, which would be a new 4.6 billion experience challenge. You know, it'd be the first person who could do everything. Everything would be all these. You have to cap all these cases and then remove points if they've gone over and shit, but... Like clue scrolls, you'd have to do maybe whatever the emotes are is the maximum, then you get no more points. Because then there might be a maximum points calculated of 435,000, let's say. And then the Deadman's out for 2 weeks. And then it's now a new server that you can keep playing if you want, but you can then play it to complete it by getting 450,000 points, which is doing everything. Once you've done that, you just freaking go back to the main game or some shit. But it would go really well, because then people would be swapping constantly. You could make loads of money and all that, but we'll have to see. The thing with that server then is obviously if you created new Deadmans in the future, you could make all the items go to that server instead, which could be broken, but I don't freaking know. Alright, anyways, that's me blabbing enough. I hope you all enjoyed my speech. If you did not enjoy my speech, then always remember, enjoy the perm. So imagine the hype of a Deadman that we're currently playing, but at the end of it, it all transfers to a brand new permanent server that you with the sigils, so you can play overpowered PVM and shit. And then if you're ever bored, you can go in and go to a 20-minute chamber if you want to. And obviously, if you don't want to, then you don't have to use this one. With daily breaches, yeah, you could have a daily breach, which would always be, let's say, regional, and it would always be at the same time every day. Call that 8 p.m. UK. It's fine with me. 10 p.m. I don't give a shit. But again, what is it? The points would cap at a certain point, so you can complete Deadman. Doesn't everyone just quit after Deadman ends? Well, no, when Deadman ends, it wipes because you go back to World 45. But World 45, there's no sigils, there's no nothing. It's freaking shit. It's 1x drop rates there. 1x drop rates, 5x experience rates, no sigils, none of that garbage. So there's no point in playing it, bro. But then imagine now there's a new permanent Deadman mode that has sigils forever, man. Yes, laddie. That's a sick idea, B0aty. You should be a moderator, lad. Basically, the best way to put this is World 45 on Deadman is like 9 years old at this point. So I think it's about time for the 10-year anniversary of Deadman mode. They make a new permanent Deadman world, which has sigils and all that shit. Sigils and points that you can play for while being in the Deadman environment. You know, it all makes sense on paper, bro. It's like, how many times have you played a league and you've maybe wanted to play the league after it ends? You can do it as Deadman mode. And you can have 5 worlds, yeah, with brackets. And then to keep everyone happy, stick it on US East World, I guess. That's what they always do. But imagine as well, you're bored and all your friends just log into the 3 to 50 bracket and you go PKing on your account. It's like, you've got a max PK on every bracket that you can just go play whenever you want. It'd be pretty cool to do, I think. That's me zapping away. By the way, if anyone wants to steal everything I said and make a Reddit post about it, make it sure it's your idea and not mine. Yes, and you will need a bond to play. But no, the people that play World 45, I'm pretty sure they're happy there. They might play this server. If a new permanent Deadman got added with sigils and shit, I don't think the World 45 players would care about that. The only thing maybe is they know now that there would really be no one that would ever join World 45. Like, the world would just start dying out. That would probably be the only downside. World 45 is dead anyway. World 45, in my honest opinion, it is dead. But there are people who do play it. But as far as I'm aware, they know it's dead and they know no one else is really coming to the game mode. But if you did create a new permanent one, they know now there is no supply anymore. No one will ever join ever again. But then it would be their choice, I guess. Is it worth them swapping to the new server? I can't speak on behalf of them, but if I was a 45 player, then they made a new Deadman and it was suddenly super active and shit, all your progress kind of goes into the bin. I don't know, lad. You're scared to die to Oda if you continue to play 45. I ain't playing 45, bro. As soon as Deadman's over and I quit this shit, mate, I'm going back to the main game.